In the Bible, there was a warrior whose very name struck fear even into lions. This was not Goliath, nor does it belong to legends. This is Bea, a little-known warrior, yet his feats are so astonishing that one can only exclaim, "Unbelievable." Just imagine someone charging headfirst into a lion's den, or using nothing but a stick to defeat a giant like Achab. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? Yet, Bea not only achieved it but accomplished even more. What made you such an invincible warrior? Is this the extraordinary power born of faith, or merely an unsolved legend? This story may change how you perceive life's challenges. Let us explore and mentally prepare ourselves to embrace a truth you may never have considered. Let's explore the reasons why Bea became the most prominent among David. He was no ordinary soldier, but a veritable whirlwind that swept away all opponents. The Bible does not use superfluous words, so when it dedicates an entire section to recounting someone's victories, we know that person is truly worthy of attention. First and foremost, Bea was the son of Jehoshaphat, a valiant general from Capson. However, he never relied on nor took advantage of his father's prestige. She carved her name into legend. In 2 Samuel, chapter 23, verse 20, we read that he struck down 2 of Moab's best warriors. Just think about it, not just one, but 2 elite individuals appearing at once. That wasn't luck, it was strength, it was courage, and it must have been something else as well. He even once descended into a pit during a snowfall and took down a lion. Take a moment to visualize the following scenario. A lion fell into a pit on a cold, snowy day. Under such circumstances, maintaining balance to avoid slipping and falling is already a challenge for most of us. Never consider confronting a mighty predator. What about Bayard? He saw the challenge but did not back down. If you thought that was bad, just wait until you hear this. Bayard defeated a giant from Achab, not some ordinary soldier but a huge, brawny brute who even knew how to command troops by playing the flute. However, Bayard only used a single stick. Just think, how could a wooden staff possibly contend with an iron spear? And yet, somehow, it still happened. He still managed to snatch the flute from Achab's hand and take him down with his own weapon. These feats were not only extraordinary, but also nearly surpassed human limits. However, it is important to remember that Bayard was not a superhero, but merely a human being like you and me. So what is the secret that allows you to achieve such incredible, almost unbelievable things? What created his extraordinary courage and strength? As you continue to explore Bayard's story, keep his legendary feats in mind. For they are not merely tales of recklessness or courage, but rather the crucial clues that lead us to the secret. Bayard became one of the most celebrated paladins since biblical times. Imagine that scene. A frigid day with a blanket of white snow covering everything. The kind of weather that makes you just want to curl up under a blanket at home, but Bayard was not like that. On the very day the storm struck, when the sky and earth were shrouded in a thick, murky darkness, he came face to face with the most fearsome predator. That is the lion. Now, pause for a moment and reflect on what is truly happening. The lion is the king of beasts, being strong, agile, and utterly fearsome. For most people, encountering a lion, even under the most favorable conditions, was tantamount to a death sentence. Bayard, he did not merely dare to confront the lion on the open plain. And being stuck with it in a pit is something the Bible doesn't describe in detail. But imagine a cramped space, the ground slippery from being covered in snow. The heat rose from an animal in the bitterly cold weather. All of it creates an unbearably tense atmosphere. One wrong step, and it's all over. However, what made the situation truly extraordinary was Bayard's reaction. He did not flee, did not tremble, nor did he waver for even a moment. On the contrary, he was the one who actively attacked, subdued, and killed that lion. This single incident speaks volumes about Bayard's character. He not only proved his courage but also accomplished much more. Demonstrated the ability to make quick judgments and maintain composure under pressure. And the spirit is always ready to embrace all adversities, even the most severe ones. The story of the lion falling into a pit also contains a profound and meaningful lesson. In the first letter of St. Peter, from chapter 5 to chapter 8, we are reminded that Our enemy is the devil, who prowls around like a roaring lion, lurking, waiting to pounce and tear apart anyone who lets their guard down. Bayard had an encounter with a real lion. It can be seen as a powerful metaphor for the inner battles within each of us. But the key question here is, what gave Bayard the courage to face that lion? What strength kept him steadfast and fearless as we continue to explore Bayard's story? Always remember that miraculous victory, for it is not only a powerful testament to extraordinary combat strength, and it also revealed an invaluable clue to the secret that made Bayard a truly extraordinary man. If you thought Bayard charging straight into the snow pit to take down a lion was an extraordinary feat, then, let's wait and see the confrontation between the venerable monk and the giant, Icub. Imagine, this is the David and Goliath story, but with a reversal of fortune that is even more spectacular and overwhelming. Let us envision Bayard encountering a warrior of Icub, but this was no ordinary foe. The Bible describes him as a man of great height, in other words, a giant. Carrying a pole so enormous it was like the beam of a loom. To call it large would be an understatement, it was truly colossal. Therefore, we also have a brave warrior like David, who dares to challenge a mighty giant. Clearly, that's what the underdog is like, right? However, the situation turned out to be even more surprising. Bayard didn't even have a single mirror or a basket. Holding just a single stick is like holding a probe to feel your way around. At my wit. But Bayard was different. He saw the giant. He saw what seemed like an impossible situation, yet he did not falter. Instead of retreating or avoiding, Bayard actively charged straight forward. In a single move, that thrill of the hand seems to run entirely counter to the logic of the battlefield. He did not evade or defend but directly attacked his opponent's own weapon. With masterful skill and extraordinary courage, Bayard snatched the spear from the giant's hand. And in an unexpected twist, he turned the tables, using that very weapon to take down his opponent. That spectacle was not merely a testament to Bayard's raw strength or his striking technique, but also demonstrates an ironclad faith, extraordinary courage, and a vision that reaches far beyond what we can see before our eyes. Only these things truly constitute Bayard's extraordinariness. Bayard did not merely defeat a giant of flesh and blood, what mattered more was, he had tamed the giant of fear and limitations, which had always existed as an insurmountable barrier. That statement offers a profound lesson for all of us. Giants, seemingly insurmountable difficulties, challenges that appear too great to overcome. Bayard's story reminds us that, with the right mindset and empowered by genuine motivation, even the mightiest and most fearsome can be defeated. But the question remains, what gave Bayard such extraordinary courage? What is your secret to remaining resilient when facing such seemingly impossible circumstances? As you continue to analyze Bayard's story, please do not overlook the spectacular encounters that have been mentioned. They are the indispensable pieces that contribute to that warrior's extraordinariness. We have just discussed the extraordinary strength and courage of Bayard. But there is another aspect no less impressive, his unwavering and steadfast loyalty to King David. And that loyalty was not merely about following orders, but also an unwavering steadfastness. Even amidst political turmoil and potential threats to one's own life. Imagine the scene. King David's reign was not always smooth sailing. Power struggles and riots erupted everywhere. Even the king's life was at times in danger. But throughout these upheavals, Bayard remained one of David's most steadfast and loyal supporters. In the book of 1 Kings, we encounter a classic example of a challenge to Bayard's loyalty. At that time, King David pretended to be ill and lay bedridden. Seizing the opportunity, his son Adonijah rebelled and plotted to usurp the throne. At its core, this is not merely a family conflict, but rather a coup d'état. Many people, including David's longtime close advisors, had followed Adonijah. Bayard failed to do so when David proclaimed Solomon as his successor. Bayard did not hesitate in the slightest. He wholeheartedly supported the king's decision, even knowing that this meant confronting formidable powers, even at the risk of paying with my own life. In 1 Kings, chapters 36 to 37, we see that Bayard followed King David's command as follows. Amen. The Lord, the God of my Lord, has spoken thus. As the Lord has protected the king, my Lord, so may he also protect his son Solomon. And may the throne of King Solomon be even more glorious than that of King David, my father." These were not just empty words. Bayard backed them up with concrete actions. He played a crucial role in protecting and consolidating Solomon's position. He thwarts every scheme that seeks to undermine the plan God has for the kingdom. However, Bayard's loyalty was not merely a matter of political calculation. He was also one of the brave warriors who once fought alongside David during the darkest hours. In his flight from Absalom, his own rebellious son, David always had Bayard by his side. When David hid himself in the wilderness, Bayard did not leave either. Such unwavering loyalty, steadfast and unshakable, willing to face such peril, is truly a rare find. It brings a deeper faith, a trust in something greater than oneself. For Bayard's loyalty was not solely directed toward David, the mortal king of flesh and blood, but also aims at the vocation and the richness of the spiritual life intended for David. Indeed, it was the grace that God bestowed upon David that made Bayard so loyal to the king. This is also a profound life lesson for us in a world where loyalty seems increasingly scarce. Bayard's shining example is a call for us to remain steadfast in our commitments, especially when walking in accordance with his plan. But the question remains: what enabled Bayard to maintain such unwavering integrity? What strength allowed you to remain steadfast in spirit when everyone around you was falling? As we continue to unravel the mysteries of Bayard's extraordinary life, remember a very special aspect of his character, for that is the next crucial piece of the puzzle. Help us understand why Bayard became so renowned. We have all heard tales of the glorious feats of the knight Bayard. Tales of slaying lions, confronting Egyptian giants, and navigating tumultuous political upheavals. But it's time to reveal the secret of his true source of power. Are you ready? The secret that gave Bayard his courage was his absolute, unshakable faith in God. You see, Bayard was not merely a skilled warrior or a loyal servant. He understood very clearly that his strength came from a supernatural being, a power far beyond himself. It was not merely theoretical knowledge, but a profound belief that had permeated every aspect of his life. Now consider the evidence in the Bible at 2 Samuel chapter 23 verse 20, where we see it written that Benaiah was the son of Jehoiada, the Lord who gathers. From the moment he was born, Bayard's life was intertwined with the presence and purpose of God. Javel builds. Whenever he heard his name, Bayard remembered the power and faithfulness of God. Imagine you are standing face to face with a lion or a giant. But I always hold within me the awareness that God is my refuge, my steadfast anchor. This, undoubtedly, is an unparalleled strength. This belief was not passive, but a living faith that gave Bayard the strength to accomplish the seemingly impossible. When facing the lion trapped in the pit, he did not rely on his own strength. He walked with a fierce conviction that the very one who created the fearsome lion was also walking beside him, shielding him. When facing the giant Achab armed with nothing but a stick, he did not act recklessly. Rather, it was his profound way of embodying the spirit of Psalm chapter 18 verse 30. By the grace of God, I scaled the fortress walls. With the support of my God, I charged into the battle. Similarly, Bayard's loyalty to David was not merely a matter of political allegiance or the duty of a vassal to his king, but also linked to his recognition and support of the divinely bestowed royal authority. Every action Bayard took reflected an absolute faith in the plan that God had ordained for the nation of Israel. The miracle is that this very strength exists within each of us today. Although we no longer have to face tangible threats like lions or giants, but everyone has their own battles and challenges. Secret reminds us that true courage does not come from one, but stems from a deep faith in God. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 says, "Seek strength from the Lord and his mighty power." That is Bayard's secret. And who knows, that might just be the secret to our success. When we know how to ground our identity in God, trust in his power rather than relying on your own strength, we will have enough courage and confidence to face all challenges. The story of Bayard is not merely an ancient legend, but also a treasure trove of wisdom applicable to modern life. So what can we learn from this warrior of faith? Homework should not involve blindly rushing into dangerous situations. His courage stemmed from his absolute faith in God. This reminds us that courage doesn't mean being fearless. It is daring to move forward even when fear still lingers in your heart, because you are certain that God is always by your side. 2. The crowd seized this opportunity to glorify the Lord. Whether facing a lion or even a giant, Bayard did not flinch in the slightest. He sees it as an opportunity to demonstrate the power of God. How many times have we lost beautiful things simply due to indifference and carelessness? Just too scared to take that first step. Another prominent lesson in Bayard's life was loyalty. In this world, the human heart is as fickle as the evening wind. Bayard's steadfastness in the David case was truly commendable. That challenges us to remain steadfast in our own commitments, especially when that commitment is tied to living according to the plan God has predetermined for each of our lives. Bayard also teaches us about the power of courage. His very name stands as a powerful testament to the Lord's faithfulness. This lesson reminds us to put ourselves in others' shoes to consider and evaluate situations, because it does not depend on circumstances or the opinions of others. One other important point that must be mentioned is preparation. Bayard did not become an exceptional warrior overnight by mere chance. His achievements are a testament to years of arduous training and unwavering discipline. This encourages us to continuously cultivate and improve our skills, to strengthen our faith, so that we may be ready to embrace the trials when they come. Ultimately, Bayard's life itself stands as a vivid testament regarding how God can use ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. Bayard was not a superhero. He was simply an ordinary man through whom God performed miracles in his life. That truth gives us a foundation for hope. No matter what limitations we think we have, God can still use us. The lessons from Bayard's life are not merely the wisdom of the ancients, but also practical truths we can apply in our lives today, whether we must face lions or the metaphorical giants in our own lives. Yet it is precisely in seemingly impossible dilemmas that Bayard's shining example truly inspires us to press forward. Trust in God, who can turn the impossible into the possible. Now, as we conclude the journey of exploring Bayard's extraordinary story, each of us likely holds a question for ourselves. How can we apply his secrets to modern life? The story of Bayard is not merely an ancient epic, but also a timeless blueprint for a life of courage, brimming with faith and purpose. The strength that made Bayard invincible was his unwavering faith in the supreme power of God, and ready for us today, just as it was for him thousands of years ago. In today's modern world, we likely no longer have to face real-life lions. Whether it's a limitation or a monumental challenge, we must face it. But everyone has their own difficulties, just as immense and daunting as anyone else's. Perhaps it was a workplace lie, a relationship that had already begun to show its cracks, or an internal struggle that leaves us exhausted. The Bayard mirror reminds us that with God, we can courageously face all of life's challenges, like the fierce lions or giants we encounter. Just imagine how everything would change if you bravely faced challenges the way the knight Bayard did. How would your perspective change if you truly believed the Creator was always on your side? Bayard's secret is to urge us to step out of our comfort zone. To live a life of adventure through faith is to see opportunity within difficulties that others perceive as obstacles, and the firmness of faith when all those around are wavering. But remember, this doesn't mean we have to force ourselves to become stronger or more courageous. It is about placing trust and surrender in a great source of strength, one that transcends each of us. That means for God to act through us, just as he acted through Bayard. Therefore, as you read these lines, I hope you will choose an aspect of your life that requires courage in Bayard's way. It might be a relationship you need to mend, a dream you haven't dared to pursue, or a truth you need to stand up for. Always remember Bayard, and above all, remember the Lord, he who granted Bayard that extraordinary strength. Make his secret your own, and place your complete trust in the Lord. Walk forward in faith and watch how he turns your utterly ordinary life into an extraordinary journey. After all, Bayard's God is also your God, and for him, nothing is impossible.